What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Team's Home Circus Live video. On the left side here, we have Rikka going up against Spright on the right side. I think that both decks are going to be a little bit underpowered in the next coming format, with Rhoda being dropped. The decks are going to be kind of hit. Rikka does get hit very hard with the both Mulch Armies, as well as Spright getting hit with kind of the old Mulch Army a little bit more than before. But we're going to be able to see it a little bit more. Spright can now play going second as well, with the Mulch Army cards in their deck. And they have a line through Mulch Army, which I think is absolutely sick, being able to bring it back, at least with the Purelia, which should be the most important one. But diving on in, we're going to be seeing the Plant-like player end up going first, going to be able to gain life points off linking off the Lurie, and that's going to, or Laurel, going up into the Jasmine, letting us activate the effect of Search, searching for the Lilyboria. We're going to activate the Lilyboria, banishing, or tributing, whatever, equipping the Rose Alina to be able to summon the Lilyboria. Then we're going to activate the Lilyboria effect, allowing us to search for the field spell here, or the Regulus, depending on what we have in the hand already. We're going to see the field spell going to be able to search, and then we can activate the effect of the Jasmine and tribute off to search, or to summon, but we're going to start off instead with that spell, searching for another Lilyboria here. We're going to activate the effect of the Jasmine, tributing that Lilyboria, and allowing us to summon from the deck. And we do let that resolve. I was going to say, what did we hit with this? I don't see there's any really point of hitting an Ash. But we do summon with the Petal, and then Petal's going to activate the effect, and we do chain Nibiru on the summon. So we're not going to be able to get that Petal effect at all. Instead, we're going to be summoning out a token. I think that Nib is pretty good against the meta right now, which is why we are playing it. It does put a body on our board, but it's not going to matter that much because we can always just summon it with the Spright monsters, and it's a free extender. In that case, easier to make a link to with any other normal that doesn't activate its effects. If we have two blues in hand, we can normal summon it, go into a sprint, and get the effect through that. We're going to be seeing a Romage Blend going to be activating, placing one of the humid, or one of the winds traps on the field. And then we are going to be thinking, we did discard that free Lilyboria that we ended up searching there. So it's not going to be that much of a difference. And we activate the effect of the winds to allow us to summon back out a Jasmine from the graveyard. Now, it may not be enough. We could potentially go up into the Sylvan Link. I'm not sure if that requires any other. I think it requires two plants. I'm not exactly sure. But they do decide to link up into the Rikka monster there. And we do take a second to read it. I have never really seen these cards. I don't know exactly what it does. And it does nothing. So we're going to be seeing them go tributing off for Mudon. Mudon can then activate its effects. And we do chain Ash to it. Having a really late game Ash is going to be very brutal. I wanted to stop the Rikka Con being played because that card's busted. But we see them have the Glamour as well, being able to let us now search, tributing off that copy of Mudon for the Primula as well as the Princess, which can then summon itself out, and then Princess will summon herself out. We can then go up into the XYZ, in which can then activate the effect, tributing our link, removing the Princess to add the Romage card back to the hand, and putting the Princess in the graveyard as well, being a form of a monster negate by tributing off that XYZ, which can then summon itself out and then essentially rank up. Let me just pass turn on this. So they have one card in hand, I believe, and then the Princess. We kind of stopped them from getting a bunch of effects because of the fact that we did stop the Mudon getting for the Con. And they do have two cards in hand, I was mistaken. But yeah, Con gets a trap, and then we can't really beat the trap, so it's kind of problematic for us. And we see us normal summon a copy of Red. If we don't have anything else here, and then we can summon out the Carrot, so being a spell and trap negate and a monster negate, and then we summon out the blue, activating its effects, and we do tribute off that Strenna for cost. We are going to think about that, and we do take a second to read this. We want to stop blue because blue's going to search for the Jet, and then we can continue our combo through that. And we are thinking, do we want to tribute off to negate it? And we end up tributing off the Carrot there to negate that after all. I have a feeling that was definitely a misplay. We should have kept the blue on the field. We should have tributed off the blue there so that when we do activate the trap, we can just negate that as well. There's no real reason to keep blue. And we see them go up into the Snowdrop, which can just be a tribute, or the Snow Queen, whatever the heck her name is, in that beautiful CR rarity. We special note that Jet, and then Jet's going to allow us to search for either a trap or in the starter there. It looks like we are thinking about it because, like, well, do we want? We know we're going to go into a turn 3 there. We're going to have to pass it back to them at some point, but we do search for the trap after all. You know, maybe trying to steal their monster at some point is going to be pretty impactful. We go for a Sprin line, then Sprin's going to be able to activate its effect, sending the Angler. Angler will then activate the effect, bring out both beavers. And this is what I mean. Like the blue on the field is not doing anything for us. The trap is just going to be a problem at some point. So definitely should have kept the carrot on the field. But we do make mistakes, and that's going to be fine. You know, having 2 cards in the hand, and one of them being the Aromage card, isn't going to make isn't hopefully going to make that much of a difference. We do overlay the Beaver as well as the blue for a Omni Soul Sweeper. We're going to activate the effect, and our opponent does on summon instead go for the tribute off because they know they're going to lose their monster. We then overlay up into the Gigantic, which was kind of the purpose of going for that there. We wanted to force out their interaction, and now allowing us to go for the Gigantic, which can get us into the Beaver, dumping, and then, or not Beaver, the Frog. Frog will then dump the Ice Mage, Ice Barrier card, and Ice Barrier card is going to let us search for the spell, which can now allow us to bring out that Mirror Mage, and then we are going to be seeing them activate the trap, bringing out the Aromage, and then we do see them activate the Rosemary, letting them gain life points, which can then trigger the Jasmine, allowing them to search their deck. So they definitely need those cards, which you're going to see them search for another copy of itself, essentially, or another copy of that card. Or we're going to see them search for our Princess instead, so maybe they're doing the same thing we're doing by going for that follow-up line. We are going to think on this. We definitely go into the Toad. Yeah, that's going to be one of our best opportunities, especially when we are going to be playing against a longer game in this case. We do link away for an SP. That can't be right? I mean, I suppose we can't attack directly, and we're still not going to be able to get rid of both bodies, so it doesn't really matter, but we do banish the Disc Coliseum because we're going to have to be playing through that. And then we're going to go battle phase attack into the Jasmine there. They do take damage off of that, but we still have to find a way to get that Rikka out of the field. We do set one mysterious trap card in the back row. I wonder which that one is. Definitely didn't insert a trap this turn. And then we're going to be seeing the Petal going to be able to bring itself back, and we do chain the SP on it, banishing the Teardrop as well as the as well as itself, and then that's going to allow us to essentially move it so that we have a zone to be able to steal a card and summon out a card as well. You know, the Double Cross is good and all, but you have to be able to summon it into a zone it points to. A link monster points to, and that's going to be very difficult for us. So we see the Regulus going to activate its effects here, and I feel like we have to Toad negate this, right? We do Toad negate, taking that Regulus, and they do chain Princess to that, and we decide to... Do we have a way to stop this? I mean, if we chain SP right now, we won't be able to summon back out the Toad. If we do chain the SP, oh no, we're going to be in trouble now. We're going to be seeing the Regulus going to be attaching itself, and now we have an Omni Negate. We're going to activate the effect of Toad, targeting the Beaver, adding it back to the hand. But now we can't even double cross. Because it has to be to a zone a link 2 points to. And they might just be out of resources themselves. So we're going to be seeing the Rikka, or not the Rikka, the Wind Trap going to activate the effect, allowing them to summon out the Laurel from the graveyard. And then we can go for the Sunvine, or summoning out essentially the Loci. We then link away for the Jasmine once again, and then activate the effect of the Laurel, allowing them to gain 500. That's going to trigger the Jasmine once again here, allowing us to search for the Princess for a third time. We can then see Princess summon herself out, then activate the Jasmine effect. We're going to be triggering off the Princess, summon out that Mudon, and Mudon is going to finally be able to search for that dreadful Con-Con. Con-Con will then be placed onto the field, and it's going to activate the effect, letting us set the trap or the spell to their field. It looks like we're going to set the spell, and then the spell is going to activate, tripping off that frog to let us search for Lily Borea alongside Snowdrop, the yellow one. And at this point, it kind of looks like we're just going to get game here by being able to summon out the Lily Borea as well as the Snowdrop. And we're just going to scoop it up, realizing that we have lost the game there. Definitely kind of hard that Regulus being the first action kind of threw us off, alongside having that Princess as protection. That's what's really nice about Rikka, is that they have so many different layers of interaction where they can just start off immediately, or an unexpected Princess just cuts you off immediately as well. Which is pretty cool. But diving on to game 2, Spright will be able to go first. We did see like a Nib, and then the later hand trap of Ash Blossom going to be pretty nice. And the traps let them add back their cards quite a bit. Like we saw them adding back the Laurel, which were able to trigger the Jasmine once again, or adding back that copy of the Jasmine so we can trigger out the, or I guess should I say summoning back the Jasmine, which is able to trigger the other one there. To allow them to get their search. It's just pretty cool. Like, I really like how the deck does operate. It's very different from any other decks, just being able to play like a monster mash of different plant types, which is pretty cool. We didn't really see any of that other than like rock, which was able to play, but it was mostly Adamantispators and then other good rock cards with the Quakumero, the Quakumero Negate, which is pretty nice as well. But we are going to be diving on into game number 2 with Spright going to be going first. Let's see if we see any of the Mulch armies being dropped from either side. We're going to see a starter being dropped here, being able to summon out the blue. Blue will then get the effect search for the Jet. Jet can summon itself out, activating its effect, searching for a copy of the Double Cross, allowing us to then be able to bring back up that Totally Awesome that we do end up hopefully making here. We do go for Sprint, send the Angler, summoning up the Double Beavers. And then we get to overlay up into a Gigantic. We have not normal summoned as well, which is pretty important. So we do go for the Gigantic line. That's very interesting. We have the ability to summon another Beaver by normal summoning. We do go for Swap Frog, and then Swap Frog is going to be dumping the Mirror Mage. We see a Judgment being revealed as well. Kind of important that, now our opponent knows that our set card could be a Judgment. We then see the summon back of the Mirror Mage, and we can go up into the Totally Awesome. I mean, we could leave the Sprint on the field just so that we can bounce the like their normal, which is kind of important, or I guess just special summon monster. It is pretty important that we do have that. I mean, I would looking back probably go for either a trap or just the access to an IP line. But this is also pretty nice as well. We do see Conflict and for the effect, and we chain the Totally Awesome to this. We then see a Call with the Grave on the Totally Awesome. We chain the Double Cross to bring it back out as well. We're not going to get the effect to add back, so we're going to be able to, but we are going to be able to see them scoop at this point. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be pretty brutal. We had Ash in the hand as well to be able to interact with them, and being able to potentially bounce back special summon monster can be quite nice. Unfortunately, we did have to use a Totally Awesome during our first action there to kind of negate that con because they're going to be able to set up. And then trading for cost our cards is going to be just absolutely brutal. But yeah, so we do see that being able to be done pretty quickly. And now we're going to be seeing the Rikka deck going to be able to go first once again, which could be proven to be quite a challenge. Unless we do draw one of those Pirelli or the other Multi-Army card. Spoiler alert, I'm not playing it. So we pretty much have to draw the Pirelli here to see any good, unless we open up multiple hand traps and a Beaver, which could be problematic for Rikka as well. But we are going to be siding a bunch of cards there. I mean, when we are taking out the Spright deck, we're going to be taking out our Bestials. We're going to be taking out our Trap. We could even take out the Mage as well as the Spell card. Those are kind of the last two cards I want to take out because of how impactful they can be. I'm putting in Cosmics, Lightning Storms, and stuff like that into the deck as well. The Nibiru's that we were not playing going first as well. Just having a bunch of blowout cards against a combo deck like this. We are going to be seeing, let's dive on into the all-important Game 3 with Rikka, Sun Avalon, a Romage going first. Unexpected Die, Therion, a Talent, as well as a Loci there. So not looking the best. We do see Unexpected Die going to activate the effects. And we think about ashing it, but we do not, which is good because they did have the normal summon in the hand. They're going to link away into the Dryas and activate the effect. We let them search here because you should just ash the spell, the Sowing. And then we do see the Sowing be activated. We do chain the ash onto this. This is the correct play against the deck. And then we're going to be seeing a Talent to rip the hand. We see a Imperm, Toad, Carrot, and then a Starter. So having double extenders or a normal summon and an extender, or double extenders there as well, which is going to be pretty nice. Then we just normal summon out that Loci, linking up into a copy of the Danceapone. They're going to activate the effect, and we see a Prentice being milled. I was like, I'm not even going to touch it. Let's see how your cuts work. But hitting the trap is really nice as well. We see Prentice not going to be able to be used as a link material, so they're going to have to just cut their board short by setting one card and passing turn on this. We're going to normal summon out the Swap Frog, activating the effect. And that's going to allow us to dump, hopefully, the Mirror Mage there to have an additional level 2. But let's see if we decide to take it out going second. We did, so we're going to be seeing the Swap Frog being dumped there. I mean, this line definitely would have been a bit better, but if you have either of those in the hand, it's not going to be great. Then we see a Starter going to be activated, letting us summon out the Blue. Blue can search for Jet. Jet can summon himself out. We do take a 1,100 as well off that, and Jet's going to activate the effect, and we see sit in a Droplets on that, negating the effect. Okay. And so now we can't search for a Gamma Burst, which would clear out the game quite easily. But we can go up into a Sprint. Sprint can then dump the Angler, summoning with both copies of Beaver here. And we can go for a Gigantic. We are level 2 locked at the moment, so we are not in any way, shape, or form kind of worried about... I mean, if we get the Gigantic, we are not going to be able to be hit with, Nib. There is a line maybe where we do Swap Frog, bounce back, but I feel like at this point they would have nibbed us anyways. We go for Gigantic, which is now going to protect us from any other kind of hand trap this turn. And Gigantic's going to summon out another Swap Frog, which now gives us access to that Totally Awesome there. Looking back, I'm not quite sure why we decided to dump that Swap Frog from the deck, but it is what it is. I feel like we wanted to see if they're going to hit us with a hand trap at that point, but we do go for the special summon out of Carrot, And then we go battle phase and we attack for a bunch of damage, having that Omni Negate on the field as well here. We do now, we don't have the Totally Awesome to be able to summon out a Swap Frog, so it's going to be kind of hard for us to go into a IP, but we do look at that SP in our extra deck here. So we look at if they have any graveyard effects. They don't have any Petal coming back, which is going to be pretty nice. And we just pass turn for this, and we see them draw a brick, which is going to mean that we end up winning the game there altogether, unfortunately enough. And we did side out this Mirror Mage as well as the barrier there. Regardless, hope you've been watching the video, and we show all the cards that we ended up siding for them. We have Shifters, we have Molcharmies, we have Nibiru's, and we didn't get to see any of them there, but we did take the win regardless. Hope you guys have been watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, have some more content like this, and stay safe. Peace.